Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Wow, as soon as I go live, I get a frog in my throat. I'll be. Welcome in, y'all, to the Cryptid Huntress live today. We're going to be talking about something so interesting, shapeshifters, but shapeshifting cryptids. And I don't know about you guys, but I do like to look at videos on TikTok, my favorite news source, and not only TikTok but Instagram. And I've been seeing a lot of shapeshifter videos lately. And so we're going to show. We're going to have a. I've got, I don't do the full videos here on my channel when it comes to showing other people's videos, but I've got some, still shots and stuff. We're going to talk about some of these videos of these shapeshifters that are going around right now, and also some orb videos that are really interesting. One in particular out of the UK that just came out. I just saw it for the first time this week, of an orb. I think it's at the Manchester airport. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that today too. Of course, I do have our good friend Barry Littleton here in the studio today. We're going to dive deep into shapeshifters. We talked about celebrity shapeshifters the last time, and this time we're going to be talking mostly about cryptid shapeshifters and forest animals shapeshifting into cryptids, and vice versa, and humans shapeshifting into animals as well. So, you guys, this is a wonderful rabbit hole. Man, did we have a wonderful show on Saturday night. Thank y'all so much for being here on Saturday and for all the support you guys were giving us. We had Javier Morales here with Cryptid 559, and wow, y'all. So a lot of what we talked about, I had never heard about before. Some of those encounters that he was telling us about, and so if you guys missed that show, please go back and watch On the Hunt from Saturday night with Javier Morales of Cryptid 559. You will not be disappointed. That was one of the best interviews that we've done together, and I really enjoyed it very much. All right. Well, if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows and go through my archives, please visit my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find my shows there. You can also find my calendar of events. I talked to Dr. John Stamey yesterday, and we are at all systems go for the 2025 Georgia Bigfoot Conference. That'll be coming up next year. That's going to be March the 22nd. Y'all, please put it on your calendars up in North Georgia in a little town called Demarest. My great-grandmother, y'all, this is going to blow your minds, right? My great-grandmother and my great-aunt that I talk about having that abduction experience where they had missing time and the light came down over their car, that's where they lived. Okay, so how wild is that we're having a Georgia Bigfoot Conference in the town where both of them, they're actually both buried there today in that same area. Okay, so Mount Airy, Demarest, Habersham County, Georgia. That is where my relatives who had the possible ET abduction lived and are buried there today. So, yeah, interesting times to be alive, y'all. So put that on your calendar. And also, I've got the East Alabama Bigfoot Town Hall coming up next month. It's December. I hope you guys have gotten your Christmas shopping done. Just kidding. I haven't gotten mine done. Hardly at all. So, but yeah, y'all come see me next month on the 18th at the East Alabama Bigfoot Town Hall. I think I have a flyer here. I have some pictures downloaded for today's show. So here we go. The East Alabama Bigfoot Town Hall. I did get word. I don't think that MK Davis is going to be able to make it to this. So I am so sorry, y'all. I was hoping to see him there, but we're going to have Tyler Howell there. We're going to have Stacy Brown Jr. We'll also have Dale Boswell. We'll have Bobby Dizzle, Flat Rock, and myself. And they're working on getting another speaker to take the place of MK Davis, although no one can take his place. Okay, so please come see us out there at that. And of course, we also have the Full Disclosure Now conference coming up in July. That's all down on the ticker. Okay, so get your tickets to those events. I'll also be at the Georgia UFO conference too coming up next year. I don't know when that is. And I can't remember. I probably got other events. But anyways, go to my website if you'd like to find all my social media links and all that kind of stuff. And also, I have a Patreon if you guys would like to support my work. Thank you to all of my Patreon members. You guys are the best. And I also have a shop where I am including free Cryptid Huntress merch with every purchase. So if you guys are interested in buying something for your loved ones for Christmas out of my shop, that's For Woman Goods on Etsy. And one last plug for our good friend John Vendeventer. Go to relicsbooks.com and get you some Relics books for Christmas as well. Unfortunately, John has been very under the weather, not feeling well, and won't be able to join us again until probably sometime next year here on the channel. And I promised him I would be supporting him and promoting his books before Christmas. Okay, I really would love to do all we can for John right now. And you guys, please lift him up in prayer and send him some good healing energy, please. That would be wonderful. Okay, well, I think we're about ready to start this show today. We're going to be talking about shape-shifting cryptids and orbs, forest animals shape-shifting into cryptids, humans shape-shifting into orbs and other animals, and a lot of these weird videos that have been going around. Maybe even some videos of people who have cheated on their spouses and have been turned into goats. Oh, man. I love what I do. Okay. So to help me do this today, I have our good friend, Barry Littleton. He is a fantastic researcher. If you guys haven't already subscribed to your channel, which I know y'all probably have, but just in case you haven't, go to Barry Littleton on YouTube and on Patreon and become a member of his channel and his Patreon. He has some of the best videos, including videos that he's put together on shape-shifting cryptids as well. So please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Barry Littleton.
Boom. Since I don't say this and people get upset, salutations. I've been told several times people get upset. I do lives, I talk, I don't do salutations. I didn't realize anybody liked it that much. What's happening?
That's your trademark, Barry.
Thanks for having me here. I guess so, along with a bunch of other weird stuff, no doubt. You know, thanks for having me here. This is been an interesting holiday season. And when I say that, you know, I come across occasionally people like somebody I've known a long time, and they say, man, I've been watching all that stuff you've been doing for a long time. Really? It's like I watch all that stuff. And I said, I've really been liking the stuff you've been doing with the Cryptid Huntress. And it just shocked me to hear this person saying that, especially in the setting I was in. You know what I mean? And the type of person they are. It's not somebody you think that would be into any of this. And then they say something. They say, you know, man, I watched a lot of people that you used to work with, you don't work with anymore, that just steal your information. They quote it. They don't give you any credit for it. I'm seeing other people on platforms taking your stuff too. And they say, but I've seen that happen to your friend, the Cryptid Huntress. She's getting copied a lot, and people are not giving her any credit. And the same thing is starting to happen to you, is that they're trying to, I think, drown out her voice. And you know, we have gatekeepers that are in this whole thing. And I just want to acknowledge that, because that's why I enjoy working with you still. And I've said this before, I've been burned by some of these con people in this deal. I don't say burned, but just, you know, I don't like the dark stuff. I don't like the negative. I don't like that stuff. The hurting people, you know, in order to get famous or be known on these platforms for, you know, it's not that important. This is about saving humanity, which is real. We're running out of time. And the stuff that you're doing helps. So a lot of it helps people's daily life. A lot of what these other platforms are talking about or don't, or they do sessions with people and they get attachments. You know what I mean? They come to me, oh, I don't feel good since I work with such and such. Well, you know, investigate them before you work with them. Do they know how to protect themselves? Do they have problems with dark energy? Or are they just giving you a front that sounds like new age stuff? Be very careful, everybody. Use discernment. You know, anyway, I just want to give you some credit for that, because I don't think you get it enough. I've been through that phase. People talk to me like I just came forward a few months ago. I came out in 2014 and put as much information out, and all the stuff I talk about now, nothing's really changed. You know, so I mean, so in that way, I just want to give you credit, make sure you get your props. And, you know, just going on into the topic, all right? Okay. There's somebody else that I used to work with that's very well known. And I'm determined to see you get as popular as this individual. I want that for you very much. When I see you both during a live, I see you getting 100 and something. I'm seeing him getting a few thousand. I want you to have a few thousand.
I get over 200 sometimes.
Oh, that's awesome. You deserve more than that. I think you'll get more. You're still kind of starting off. You're doing a great job. That you're putting out so much work, different work, not just SSP stuff or not just cryptid stuff, not just UFO stuff. You're kind of doing the whole gamut. And that's what people need right now. It's really important, to have that variety. And you see some of these cats, they run out of information. They start either copying or just making crap up. You know what I mean? Anyway, going forward, what I was going to say about the subject, that's why I want to bring this up. But back then, when I was still working with dark people, this individual had a video that they had sent me. We did a video on their show. We did an interview on their show about it. And it was this video they had sent me that came, it was out of Africa. It was looked like a smaller village. And it was this crow that was stuck in like a barbed wire by its foot, and it was stuck in there. And you got a couple of villagers go up, and they're speaking, it almost sounds like Swahili, but they're going up to a couple of go up and are trying to cut it free. And the others going, it's a witch, it's a witch. And when they cut this crow free, it falls on the ground. It doesn't hardly, it can't fly off. Its foot's all messed up. And then it starts flopping around. And as it flops around, it starts flopping and turning into this woman. What? And suddenly she's standing there and she's sitting there and her legs all jacked up and she's crying and screaming. And then everybody gets away. It's that witch. It's that witch. But it's a different language, but somebody subtitled it. I cannot find that video right now to save my life. I look for over an hour on YouTube, everywhere. I can't find it anymore. But that is the most convincing video concerning a shape-shifting / sorcerer witch that I've seen, opposed to the ones we're going to talk about today. One of them you sent me was good, but that one with the goat legs, oh man.
It's so bad. Barry, I had the same problem actually trying to find some of these videos because I was really digging deep. And I could not find a whole bunch of these videos today. I mean, I went to all my normal sources. Okay, I had to really go back into the archives, and I found about three or four. Okay, that are more recent. But I was having trouble too because I kind of did remember that video. I feel like you might have sent that to me a long time ago. I could not find it no matter how many searches I did, and I put in, from witchcraft to like African witchcraft to shapeshifters to whatever. It's kind of like it's almost like it's being, I don't want to say things are being censored because maybe there's just so much information that it just gets piled on top of. And so it's hard to get to those things because after a day, so many people, hashtag shapeshifters and witchcraft and whatever so much that it's hard to find these things. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, everything's getting censored so hard now. And now we've got, and some of that, even that far back when I sent that to you was a little bit before the total revolution of AI. I mean, that's just ruined almost everything now. I heard you mention MK Davis a little bit ago, and he's not going to make it. I'm sorry to hear that. But I was watching one, I was going through looking to see if I might actually bookmark that video. And I couldn't find it. Then I start coming up on all this other stuff that I bookmarked over years and years and years. And one of them was MK Davis video over Whitey's Run, but it was the one where he did the cuts on it. And you can really see how fast that thing is moving across the field, and also how it does the back scratch on the tree for no apparent reason. Yeah, and then just gets on all fours and takes up and runs off. I mean, just stuff like that. And we're lucky that's still up. And that's some of the most convincing Bigfoot and speed footage I've ever seen, and nobody talks about it.
Is that the one where it looks like the Bigfoot is running through like an orchard or a garden and it hops over a fence, or is that a different one?
That's a good one too. But no, this is the one. This is a white one, and it comes up and it jumps. At first, it's on all fours. Then it stands up. Then it gets back down and does a back stand against the tree, flips back up, and then it takes off and runs past this cow and past the trees and all the way. It's one of the ones on that habitation in Texas. I think they got in the mirror that was reverse, I believe. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. That's the one where MK's even standing down in the ravine. You see this thing go down and come up real quick. The ravine is huge. You can see him standing down there. So, I mean, stuff like that just is, when people say there's no evidence, but some of the good stuff gets just sequestered.
It does. It does. We have to, that's why it's important that we keep these things. Anytime I find something really interesting, I try to like forward it to myself. Like I make a bookmark of it. I send it to myself. I send myself emails. That's why my email accounts are so backed up. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I have a hard time keeping my email accounts going. I can just open another email account. Okay. Because I send myself so much stuff and I get a lot of messages too. Okay. But a lot of it's me sending myself stuff. So I don't forget. And then it gets lost. So I don't know what to do. It's just information overload these days. However, it's here somewhere. Okay. And we've seen these videos. The one of the woman getting her, the raven or the crow, whatever you were saying, whatever that blackbird was, that turns into the woman. That is pretty fascinating. And it's really wild because that actually reminded me, we were talking, you sent me that message this morning. I started thinking about the similarities of that case and the case of Emily Isabella Burt. Okay, now that is the case of the Georgia werewolf.
Please tell us all about that, please.
And so, yeah, well, I'll show you a picture of her. I have a couple of pictures here. Now, this is a young girl. This is her when she was probably a teenager, maybe in her 20s. She lived in Talbot County, Georgia. Now, that's down where we had the Molina Bigfoot Festival in that area. Where I spoke at the library the night before that festival. She's buried there around Talbot County. And she was Georgia's werewolf. And she was a suspected werewolf. Well, when she was a little girl, her mother, I guess her father had passed away. She came from a very wealthy family. Her father passed away and left her mother and her sisters a good bit of money. Well, her mom was kind of a woman about the town, wanted to be high society. So she sent the daughters off to boarding school in Europe. Okay. Well, while Emily was in boarding school in Europe, so the rumor was that she became a werewolf or something, or met someone who turned her into a werewolf, or something happened to her while she was in Europe. Okay. Because when she came home from boarding school, she would not stay up all night. She wouldn't sleep except for during the day. And she had these weird, unusual habits of she disappeared. She'd be gone all night. Okay. And the farm, and they said that she was growing hair around her body. She was growing hair where she shouldn't be growing hair. Okay. And her teeth were like kind of getting jaggedy and stuff. And so some people suspected she might be a werewolf. Okay. After the neighbors, their livestock started dying, started showing up dead, drained of all this blood and stuff. And the neighbors the farmers put out like a hunt party. Long story short, Emily's mother suspected that she might be the cause of all these animals dying around the area, that she might actually be a werewolf. And so she went out with the hunting party. And one night when she was coming back after hunting for whatever was killing the livestock, she was going to try to protect her daughter, if it was actually her daughter that they were hunting. And so when she was walking back home one night from this hunting party, something jumped out at her from the bushes, and the mother shot it, and the thing ran off. She hit it, but she didn't see where she hit it at. It ran off. She thought she hit it in the paw. When she got home, Emily was sitting on the front porch holding her hand with a gunshot wound in her hand. But see, she had been jumped at by what looked like a dog. Okay. And so she ended up having to take her daughter to the doctor. The doctor said, well, she has a case of lycanthropy, is what the doctor said.
Well, what year was this again? He said, oh, she's having lycanthropy. What year was this? 1800s? Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Early, yeah. She lived. So her tombstone says July 23rd, 1841. She died June the 18th, 1911. So this was probably, I'm going to say, the 1860s and or 70s when all this happened. I don't think she ever married. Okay, they said that she was not the pretty one out of the sisters. Okay. They always seem to stress that when you're talking about this, talking about her. So that kind of is very unfortunate. All right. But anyway, she had something really strange written on her tombstone as well. I believe her aunt had something written. I'm going to see if I can read it. Thy form alone is all, thank God. that to the grace is given for thy know thy, I can't read it. I don't know. Something about that she's safe in heaven. It's like her true, now she's in her true form is what it says basically. Now that she's in heaven. Now, what does that mean? It's very cryptic, right, Barry?
Yeah. I'm not to try to crack jokes, but I can't help but think about that movie from the 80s with Corey Haim called Silver Bullet, where he shot he was on the dock and he shot the werewolf in the eye with the rocket, the firecracker. And then you went around for like at least the next 30 minutes of that movie waiting to see who it is you're going to find that as a human that was missing an eye. And finally you found out it was the preacher the whole time. But I mean, that story just kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
I think that, that's interesting because it comes down to, was it, did she have a mental illness or was it actually shape-shifting? And, when we talk about shape-shifting, I'll ask you a question.
Okay. When
something shape-shifts, like let's say what you saw on American Werewolf or something like that, that takes an enormous amount of energy. Where does that energy come from?
Good question. I don't know. What do you think?
As much as when I was a kid, I always wanted the Hulk was my favorite. Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby was my favorite. But the problem when I started learning about science was that where would the energy for him to make a transformation like that come from? Okay, it wouldn't just be because he's pissed off. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot more than that. There's going to be air crackling around them and other things are going to be drawing energy from the environment. A lot of times, I think actually seeing Sasquatch do also. I think they draw fear from people sometimes, and also they draw, I think, energy from the trees. But it's a matter of where's the energy come from. I'm just throwing that out scientifically. And when talking about actually shape-shifting, if you just want to go into that real quick, the way it was taught to me, it was done. Then I learned later the system that was being done. But it was actually using the dream body. And it's the masters of perception that can actually make their dream body as corporeal, almost as corporeal as this one, manifested into the third dimension and then place their cognitive abilities there, just like when they're dreaming. But when they do that, that's when they actually use shape-shifting too, because that body does not conform to the same physical parameters of this one. And one way that it was taught to me that you do, I probably shouldn't be doing, who cares? I'm not young anymore. I'm going to keep it all these secrets. Don't tell anyone. This place is about to go up in flames. There's no more time for hiding stuff like that. It's information, it's knowledge. Anyway, it involves training your perception on the animal, the species, the animal itself that you're trying to shift into. And when I say that, that starts on the physical level, observing every physical detail about it, every mannerism it has, every habit it has, and completely immersing yourself in that. Then that's when you start beginning to have the ability to use your intent of will to shape the dream body. And if you want to think about it, when people talk about these orbs and the beings that can actually make their energy body into an orb, and when we talked about the quantum hologram, we'll go into that again. We talked about that a lot, but that's what that is. People are seeing a lot. Is that type of a thing? An orb is good for interstellar travel. But anyway, when dealing with actual shape shifting, that's the way I understand it. It was done, and the way it was taught to me. And when I tried these little red bugs. I may have talked about one of the other shows, and I got tripped out on it. I left that stuff alone. There's little red bugs around our driveway. They look like mites of some type, but they always stayed on the concrete, and they did these odd squares. The way they moved, it was just bizarre. So I just started studying them and looking at them, trying to find out more about them. And that's what wound up happening to me. I found myself crawling like one of them, looking at them like they're real big, and I didn't like it. So I quit messing with it. I said, okay, I don't care for shape-shifting. I'll leave that alone. That's when Fox just came out. He had shows like Werewolf on there, 21 Jump Street, the Tracy Ullman show. That's a different era.
Yeah. That's old school. That's old school. Okay, so interesting points, very interesting points, and it's actually kind of reminding me of one of the videos that I was going to talk about today, because there was a video, I believe it's out of Mexico. Okay, I want to say it's out of Mexico. This is what Andrew is talking about. It says the one Jessica shared on her stories is quite interesting. The dog shape-shifting into a two-legged being. Okay, now it's almost like, and I've seen other videos like this before, where there is an animal that shapeshifts into a human, or a human that shapeshifts into an animal, and there's a point to where they look transparent. Okay, they look transparent almost the whole time, really. But in this video, you can actually hear. Okay, so before you see anything, you hear a dog bark or growl, and I'm not going to show the whole video right now, but I have still shots from it. If you want to see it, it's on my stories on my Instagram page. So you guys go follow me on Instagram. It's on my stories on Facebook as well. So go check out my Facebook page. But it's supposed to be in Mexico. I took a screenshot of the TikTok page I found it on today, because I'd seen this a while back. So I want to give this person credit. Okay, whoever this is here, trending something, is where I took the screenshot from today. It says a mystery is taking shape in Mexico as footage from a security camera appears to capture a dog running down the street and surprisingly transforming into a human being. Okay, so there's the screenshot from TikTok. Okay, now this is a little bit closer up. I kept trying to get a zoom in, and StreamYard would not let me upload these pictures for some reason. Now, what you're seeing right here, okay, I know it's hard to tell what you're even looking at right now, but if you look over to the far left, right in front of that white vehicle at the top, there's a blurry like shape. Okay, it's very misshapen. That's actually the person, the dog. Okay, because the dog comes around behind that fence right there, and then it walks up that sidewalk. And then right around there is where the dog turns into a human. Now, I got a screenshot of whatever this is, shape-shifting. Okay, so that movement is almost like it looks like something off of a Marvel movie or something. This dog, after you hear it growl and kind of bark, it walks. You can see its body in the camera, and then it just suddenly starts shape-shifting, and then it turns into a man walking off. Okay, so right there. It's really interesting because it reminded me a lot of even that Dogman down in Fort Pierce, Florida, Barry. The one where that guy named Blue opens up his back door, and he happens to be on Facebook Live, and it looks like this Dogman, it's like the ghost of a Dogman or something, runs by. It was transparent. So that's kind of what we were seeing, what was shown in this video, though. In a lot of these videos, there's a video of orbs that turn into a man in somebody's backyard. And I think that's down in Central America, if I remember correctly. So some people say that's black magic, Barry. What do you think?
That's the better video you sent. And I got to be honest, not 100% sold on that one either, but it's better. And more realistic in terms that it holds up in terms of, now, if you actually see someone in their dream body, and if you don't have too much of your own cognitive bias and cognitive dissonance kind of influencing what you're seeing, a lot of times they're in the mode of transforming like that in a dream body, they would appear somewhat transparent. And someone like you that sat there and listened to me lecture for 2 hours in person, I talk about one of my experiences when I was the first one when I started on my adult onset experiences. I see people on board this craft and they look like they're transparent. I can still see them, but they're like kind of see-through. And that means they're in their dream body, their energy body, touching that living light and going through whatever it is they're doing in their experience, opposed to me sitting up there holding my stomach, trying not to throw up, trying not to black out, because I'm getting sick in that environment. they're not being affected by that. But when looking at them in their dream body, their energy body, they were somewhat transparent, like what you're seeing there. So I wouldn't say that one's total crap. You know what I mean? And I don't know, my opinion only. You know what I mean? But what does they say? They'll throw out the baby with the water with the bathwater, the baby with the bathwater, or whatever that. I don't have children, so I don't know that saying.
Baby with the bathwater. Yeah, don't ever throw out the baby with the bathwater. Yeah. Yeah. That's back when babies used to take, people used to give babies baths in buckets, I guess. Okay. So I don't know. Now we have a drain, most of us. But anyways, yeah, it's these videos. I want to say like some of the, I mean, it's just wild the number of videos. And I was thinking this morning, I was like, okay, there's so many of these videos of people shape-shifting. Why can't I find them today? It's like, why can't I find them? I had to dig so deep just to find that one. And I had just seen all these videos, it seems like this week.
That's very, very bizarre, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. Very bizarre. I noticed that too. And especially that one video, because not surprised that one doesn't come up anymore. But if it's supposed to be such a fake, you should really be able to find that one easily. That is the most convincing one. That African one's the most convincing one I've seen. And if you remember it, the way the crow was flopping around, you remember it's flopping, and it starts flopping. And as soon as it starts, like you start seeing like it's changing, and then the head starts coming, and it flops again, and so it flops over, and it's that woman starting to flopping around, moving around in the mud. That was really bizarre. I mean, I couldn't explain that one as good as I tried, you know. Yeah. But I'm no CGI expert, though. I don't know.
Well, I know a CGI expert. So if we can find that video, we'll send it to him. I want to have Trey with Squatch Me Now is really good at detecting stuff, and he can put it through. I'm sure he's got some kind of technology that he can run these things through. I'll hit him up and send that to him if we can find that video. I'm going to continue looking for it. So if anybody who's watching or listening in, you guys, if y'all find this video, please send it to us. Okay. And we'll have it analyzed. Have it analyzed by somebody. Brown Dwarf says TikTok UFO today. There's a lot of UFO videos right now, Barry. A lot of UFO sightings right now. Some was it over DC again? I don't know, but a lot of UFOs. Even my sister sent me a message. She's even into all this now. Surprise. Can't believe it.
Isn't it interesting how this always comes in waves? I mean, honestly, everything that we're hearing now, I heard back in the 80s when I was really into this, trying to figure out what was happening to me. In the 90s, you hear all this stuff you're hearing right now that's coming back up again. Maybe the UFOs over the Capitol was a 60s thing, but that's happened before.
1950s. Yeah.
I mean, doesn't it just seem a bit staged to you?
It kind of, at this point, yes, because of our long-awaited alien invasion that we're waiting for.
And right? I've told you before what that is an attempt to destroy a timeline I've seen since I was a kid. I've seen a timeline intervention with those ships that they're now they've tried to change that with this alien invasion crap. But it would only take a few of these ships, maybe 20, to show up over major cities, 20 major cities for about 2 minutes each, and then disappear to change this world. I've seen that happen before. And it's odd how that timeline is never going to manifest now, I think, because this alien invasion thing. You know, I used to get really nervous because I'd seen a timeline that was like the one Gordon Michael Scallion had seen, all these Earth cataclysms. I got all scared. And then Art Bell said Gordon Michael Scallion was real. Oh my God. All these things that don't happen. These things attempt to throw us to a bad timeline, which will eventually happen through natural cataclysm anyway. You know, you and I have been talking about this for a couple of years now. People got to be aware of that. People trying to throw us to this crap, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of, maybe it's targeting the people that haven't been so awake. Okay. And so there's a lot of people who aren't as awake as we are, or in the know as we are, I guess, and have been a part of this for a long time. Because I mentioned it was like my sister, and listen, I love my sister to death, but she's never really been into all this stuff, into aliens and UFOs and Bigfoot and everything. Okay. I'm the odd one out. Okay. My mom's into it, of course. But even my dad, we were sitting around at Thanksgiving, and one of my dad's friends was like, Steve, do you believe in all this stuff with Bigfoot? And my dad, he can barely hear him. But he perked up a little bit and he was like, ow. He just did like that. And I was like, oh, see, Dad still doesn't believe in it. Even though this is what I do. I live and breathe Bigfoot.
You have the gift. Did it skip your sister, or did she suppress it?
Probably suppress it. A little bit. I think that she just had not had time to get into it. You know what I mean? Like, she's always been a very hard worker, and she's got kids, and she's got a lot of kids and stuff. So she just had her head down working, and living life. And maybe that's what it was. But she's awake now. So that's good. I think, and just like I think a lot of people are. And so she's sharing out stuff like this. She's the one that sent me. That's how I found some of these videos today, is because she had sent them to me. That's how I ultimately ended up finding them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Progression, huh?
Yeah, progression. Exactly. So but that's my gauge. Okay. With my sister waking up to it and her sending this out to other people and reposting these links on her TikTok page and stuff, it's like, okay, that's progression. This is my gauge. The general public is waking up big time. Not that I consider her general public, okay, but I kind of do when it comes to these issues.
Interesting. I see what you posted up there. What's up, Laura?
It's about the babies.
That brings up, I had great discussion in, I think that was Grafton, around that fire that was making me sneeze and the bugs that were biting us that were resistant to off. Anyway, yeah, we had to talk about, Matthew Morning and I had to talk about Carlos Castaneda. And I find that interesting because I don't see a lot of people in these communities talking about him. And he was somebody, when I was a teenager, his books helped me, his series helped me like no other, And something we talk about, shape-shifting cryptids, all right?
Yes.
It's interesting because I met some people that had practiced a lot of his techniques before I got to read his books. So I didn't know what the hell they were doing with me. Yeah. But anyway, something that they specialize in doing is getting these inorganic beings, okay, once they come through these portals, trapping them in different devices, whether it be crystals or corn or different things. And then they would feed these inorganic beings emotions and then set them loose on people. So for Carlos Castaneda, he had a teacher that went, for him, it was Don Juan Mattis, Don Juan. But to the women that he taught, he called himself Ariano and different names, okay? But Don Juan Mattis talked about how he got trained. And his teacher, his novel Julian, was a hideous man, more like the old cycle. And they would do stuff to Castaneda that they're showing up with their dream bodies and doing things that pushed his perception so far that he started losing control of his excrement and losing control of his urine, and they'd be laughing at him, cracking up, saying, you should be able to see, and you can't see. That's why you can't accept it. But what Nolan Julian did to him was Don Juan got shot. He was a field worker of some type. He got shot, and he gets rescued by this novel Julian, who appears to be a super old man. Okay. And it's on a cripple, and Don Juan, when he got better, the novel was telling him, hey, whatever happens, don't try to run out of here and leave out of here. That man out there will get you. And there's this man that appears to be a cyclops that he sees walk around the property sometime, a huge cyclops, a giant. And he was terrified of this individual. Come to find out that was actually his master's inorganic being trapped in one of these nuts that he would release sometimes and feed it this emotion just to scare Don Juan. And it would take more energy from Don Juan. So the point is, this was an inorganic being that can shapeshift in the ways that you're talking about. And, it's very interesting, when dealing with that and when kind of crossing this over a little bit into that, because I think some of these things aren't the separate things that we want them to be when dealing with some of these beings that come here that can masquerade as physicality, but they're really not. But we perceive them that way. And once you start seeing by energy, you can detect them, and energy shape, you can detect them from normal people.
Oh, well, it's almost kind of holographic or something too. And I think that's kind of, you know, I'm not going to say we're expecting this, but I'm kind of expecting it. If this were to ever happen, it seems as though there's a whole lot of holographic technology out there, and they've been showing it to us for decades now. We've been seeing holograms, holographic stuff in the skies, holograms, and advertisements. You go to Las Vegas, you see holograms. You go to Dubai, there's like whales floating through the air and stuff. I mean, it's almost like we're kind of expecting it.
You know, and we're behind consciously. I have been physically in the presence of non-humans that can project a false environment to you optically. And I've been talking about this for years. And thank God my encounters weren't negative. But when you start dealing with beings that can do that on a conscious level, or even disconnect your dream body from your physical body and bilocate you and bring you closer through the optical nerves, you're dealing with a different level of awareness. It's very serious, you know? So, you know, but we're right now, we're kind of stuck on just what humans can do. But where this stuff is being back engineered from is very much from a conscious level, all the way to Stephen Talbot's holographic universe. You know, you've got things like something called quad pole light that can only be seen by the third eye. Quad pole light. You know, and that's because I wondered what happened when I was at that ranch. Why did I see that? Why? And there's somebody else standing with you. Let's say Jessica's standing with me, and she sees this holographic mountain. The holographic. That's why I had you remote view that thing, and this ship go down. Okay, what if I'm just cooked? Okay, I was in high air of the mountains up there. You know, maybe TBI resurging. Who knows? What if But that type of delusion is not shared. So I want to know why. So I want to talk to some scientists. What did I see? You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I don't want to take us off the topic. So he's talking about cryptids.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, Marina mentioned the blue beam technology, and that's what we've been describing here. The blue beam technology, and so you know, it's way beyond anything that we could comprehend as humans, because we do, you know, it's just like I talk about with cryptids. Like we think in terms of like how humans feel and think. Well, how do we know that compares to the way cryptids feel and think? You know, when it comes to some of the stuff we discuss, when it comes to this stuff. But Andrew has a good point. Same goes for holographic false memory implants, fake memories. The list is huge, which makes you think, if as above, so below, then definitely the positive is also packing some serious firepower. I like that.
Targeted incubated dreams. Targeted dream incubation. That I've been talking about that a long time. People don't listen, but when they turn your dreams, well, not your audience, but I mean just outside. Your audience is cool, yo. But you know, when they start turning dreams into memories, those memories into reality. You know, when I start listening to things, I start hearing people saying, "Well, hey, I've been SSP this whole life. I'm a super soldier. I've met so many super soldiers now. It's over 100 and some of them. Okay." And they say, I'm starting to hear now, well, we can't prove it because it happens in an alternate reality and an alternate timeline. Well, that covers that, doesn't it? That doesn't all sound like a computer simulated, generated hive mind type of thing at all, does it? Just my imagination, right? I'm just asking you. I don't see clearly, so
Man, yeah, we live in a very interesting world right now. Okay, very interesting.
It's concocted. It's concocted.
Well, you know, it's hard to know what's what anymore. It really is hard to know what's what because there is so much mind control going on. There's a whole lot of mind control. I think a lot, and even the shapeshifting has to do with mind control. Okay, all of this does. The screen memories, all of that. I mean, I think that. And I don't just think, I'm sure that is part of the reason the head of my research team taught us all remote viewing was so that we could learn to control our minds. Okay, because your mind is so powerful and we do manifest our realities, whether you like it or not, good or bad, we're manifesting everything around us.
Hey, I have a request. you get a lot of intel. Will you find out who it was that trained Edgar Mitchell and those early astronauts, astrophysicists, astronauts to remote view before they went to the moon, before they went on any of those missions? They spent like a long time, like maybe years, learning to remote view. Could you find out who trained them? I'd just be interested. I'd be interested to know. I mean, yeah, and for those that want to know, I mentioned before, Edgar Mitchell had started a series, a system that's called Quantrek, Quantrek, where he talks about some of the remote viewing they did preparing to go to the moon, some of the things that he experienced going there, the barbecue effect that I've talked about in the show before, all that stuff he talks about concerning Quantrek and how he felt like when he saw the stars, each one of them was connected to a cell, a molecule in his body. Very, very interesting stuff. But I just love to see what all they saw before they got there.
Yeah.
And why
I would
they were
like
there.
to know too. Yeah, I'd like to know too.
Ray Hernandez might know.
I might know somebody that would know. Okay. Yeah. But I don't know. I'll keep you posted on that. Just remind me. Okay. Because I forget. You know, I still got a target that I need to do for you too. So I'm working on it. Okay.
That'll be an interesting one, I promise you.
Okay. It's on deck. It's on deck. We'll be doing it soon. But yeah, you got to wonder where, mind control plays a part in every single bit of this that we're talking about. But even with the shape-shifting as well. I mean, I was watching a little clip last night of on social media somewhere, but this guy was explaining how our thoughts become holograms, basically, is what he was saying. He was actually making a lot of sense, because this is how it kind of calculates into the quantum realm, right? He was talking about how when we think about somebody that we want to, we're wanting to think about, or somebody that let's just say somebody that we can't stand. Let's go this route. Let's go with this route. Okay, somebody that you just can't stand. You hate somebody, right? Let's just say like an ex or something, right? There's somebody you just can't stand, and it's like they've done you so dirty, and you allow yourself to just think about it. Okay, I'm not calling you out, Barry. I'm just saying anybody.
I'm messing with you. Listen.
But okay, so this is the way that he was describing this. Was like, well, it becomes like, okay, that's like your thought form, right? And it becomes almost like a hologram in the ethers, and like you put so much thought into it, it starts to become like a reality, because then they get brought into it, like their energy is involved in all this. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Okay, so like the bet, and it becomes reality. Okay, like these holograms end up becoming reality. I know that just sounds weird. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to most people, but you create this. Okay, so like you're just creating because you're thinking about it so much. It becomes your reality. Okay, so the best thing we can do is go no contact, quit thinking about it, cut it off, and just let it be. Okay, and so that's just what I'm saying. When it comes to stuff like this, I guess it's the power of thought. Okay, it's the power of thought in our imaginations.
The thing is this, it's invisible too. Just like our feelings are invisible. The voices we hear in our minds, if they appear to be ours or not, are still invisible. These inorganic beings, a great deal of them are invisible. Okay? So we're dealing with, when you say that, it's also the negative self, which we're born with. We talk about this great war between heaven and hell, whatever, man. But it gave us the free will to that degree, definitely, okay, to have the negative self. And the negative self is a huge amount of our energy goes to that all the time. Self-doubt, self-hatred, hatred of others, all the negative. Then we get a trauma. And there's plenty of those for all of us. And the trauma fractures the negative self into negative identities that are formed during the decisions that we make during major trauma. And then the subconsciousness comes up and grabs those negative identities and suppresses them. And they're just running in the background like these apps on the phone. It tells you, it says, oh, it's asleep. No, it's not. Those things are still draining my battery. They're still making it swell or whatever else is going on. So the negative identities is very real. And you have so many traumas during our lives, and there's so much negative self that it fractures, and so much of our energy goes into that it's unreal. It stops us from being magical beings. You know, don't you wonder why we're not magical? I talked to that with you before. We can do a lot of stuff. We shouldn't be these slave bestial people down here. Mm-hmm. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I mean, I've even noticed, I'm not calling anybody out, okay, but I've noticed with some of the people I've dealt with in my life, they are stunted emotionally, stunted in their growth, and they haven't moved on. They have grown adult is what I meant to say, grown adult bodies with childlike brains and brain function. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just being serious, because they don't develop once there's, and I have to say, I do believe that's from trauma as a child. Okay. Yes. And I'm not saying they're not responsible for their actions, because these people have been very horrible to me. Okay. There's two in particular. There's more. Okay. But there's at least two that are in grown men's bodies and their children in the brain, in their minds. Okay. And so I'm just saying that happens as well. And it's a horrible thing to have to happen, yes. You know, but it, you know, as an adult, we have to heal and take care of ourselves when it comes to stuff like that, and to recognize that we are living as children in human adult bodies. Okay. So,
you know, something else I'll throw in there, and it's so important. This is going to sound so cheesy and new age when I say it, but it's real though. All right. You got to know how to love yourself. You've got to love yourself.
Yes.
You know, because after we die, there's 1 or 2 generations, people that remember you, and that's it. You know, so I mean, it's important very much to love yourself and experience your life. The choices, the intention behind them. People ask me all the time, what'd you see when you died? It's not as important as what I see, but I'll tell you what I experienced. All the hurt I put onto others and all the love I put onto others comes back. What they call the panoramic life review. It's very serious, and it's intense, you know? So, you know, that's all we can say. I'd agree with that. And just real quick saying, you know, I myself kind of negative identity when I was in Australia. You know what happened to me? And I got, you know, and that happens, but individuals can do that. I'm about to die. Person doesn't care, but now they ring bells and they're a guru. Okay. I didn't even have a high school degree. So that is things like that we just have to be aware of, you know, and I couldn't get rid of the old negative identity I got myself on that one. I still want to kill that person. But I mean, so I try to work on the stuff myself, and I'm aware of it. I can help other people get rid of their negative identities, but it doesn't work on myself. You know what I mean? But just things we all go through it. Nobody's perfect, you know, nobody's anything. We're just people learning on experience, but love yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Love yourself and treat yourself good, and give yourself a break sometimes, you know?
Yes. Love yourself and your spouse. Don't cheat on your spouse, because guess what happens to you sometimes if you cheat on your spouse? You become a goat.
I've never been married. I don't know. I'm out.
You become a goat, Barry. Do you want to see? I've got pictures of shape-shifting people.
A goat.
Turned into goats.
Oh. And I was like, right now, they call that sister that does the Olympics. They call her the goat. She wears a little goat. What's her name? Simone Hardy.
Oh, the goat. That's the greatest of all time. That's different.
Yeah.
That's different. Oh my gosh. Yes. Let's just move on to the goats, because I just remembered I have to pick up my kid. My kid went back to school today, so I can't. We got to kind of move through these real quick. And I don't want to end the show without showing our pictures of our goat friends here. This is wild. And now this one right here, I don't buy it. This guy was mooing like a cow, actually. And he was like, acting like he was so sad, but all his friends had cameras in his face. This has over almost 7 million views on YouTube. Okay. This guy. I'm not exactly sure what I was looking at.
I've not seen this. I'm not
seen this to you. This guy his tail is moving and his legs are moving a little. Well, his legs don't actually move, but he's got cow's legs. It's not a goat. I guess he's a cow because he was mooing. They were saying cow, but he looked more like a goat. Okay. But he was mooing and he was really sad. And they said that he had shapeshifted. A dark witch had turned him into a goat, or they said a cow. I think they got the word wrong. I think it's supposed to be a goat. Okay. Barry left. Oh, y'all, Barry's got the mute button pushed. I hope, yes.
Yeah. Hey, that was an interesting picture, though. It was an interesting picture. So,
you should see the video. Okay, I'll put the video in the comments
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll put the video up. I'm sorry, I'm on my computer today.
So that was a cow, man.
This is what you get if you cheat on your spouse. And this is where they live.
Is that what they said? Yes. Is that what they said?
Yes, they said that he was turned into what they said was a cow. And he was like, "Moo."
You know what that reminds me of? Weird Science, where she told Chet, just for that, I should give you a pair of elephant balls. And he's like, oh. Sorry,
I would honestly, I would kind of feel sorry for him if his friends weren't laughing and putting cameras in his face.
Oh, they were laughing. I'm sorry. I should be laughing. I'm not here to get back. I'm gonna get bad energy. I better quit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they weren't laughing, but they were like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. You know, you shouldn't have cheated on your wife." And putting cameras in his face.
His wife must be one heck of a bruja. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Next pick. Let's do the next one.
Okay. Let's see. We got one more.
I'm sorry.
There's a bunch of these. There's actually a bunch of these online. If anyone's interested, I only, there are so many. I just got a couple because they're all the same. Okay. This poor lady had cheated on her husband, and let me take banner down. This husband casts a voodoo spell on wife, turning her into half cow, half human after she cheats on him. And so you can. She had the same thing. But I don't know.
Do you know what that looks like to me?
It looks like
like a lady sitting in a hole, standing in a hole, and they put like some dead, chopped off goat legs underneath the dress. I mean, that's the one you sent me, right? The video. Yeah. That's the one I really didn't buy. Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of the gurus used to levitate, but really they got those sticks that they're sitting on. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we couldn't find the good videos of the lady that actually did look like she was shapeshifting. So this was the next best thing that I could find this morning. Okay. But there's all sorts of these videos, and they do get millions of views. So somebody's profiting off of this. But yeah, it's just
probably the cheaters.
Right. It's really sad though. I mean, it's like public humiliation. Now, what maybe it is all fake, but she really did cheat and she got publicly humiliated. They're like, we're gonna make you be in a TikTok video since you cheated on your husband. Okay.
I'll tell you, I've never been married, and this is not inspiring.
Oh man.
Sorry. I'm getting sure your audience be like, don't have that guy on again, man. He's laughing too much.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm trying my best not to laugh too. Okay, so those are not probably real shapeshifters. Okay, probably not real shapeshifters, but they are. But I mean, these videos get a lot more views than mine do. Okay, 7 million views. That's a lot. Okay, for people turning into cows and goats. So, but there are legit videos out there that look legit. Of course, in this day and age of the AI and the CGI, it's really hard to tell at this point. But Barry, you and I have seen a video that is 100% real. That was an orb that turned into an alien or multiple aliens, and then it turned back. That was a great one.
That's one of the best videos I've ever seen. Evidence-wise, whoever goes to a conference and Matt shows that to is very, very, very lucky. I mean, that's one of the best evidence I've seen. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And it's one that was just so weird to even just make up. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think this was at the Manchester airport in the UK. This was filmed on the runway at the airport this past week, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days ago, from what I can tell, there was a blue orb that was flying all around the runway. It was like going up and down and in the air. There's another view of it. I want to say that's about the size. That's a little bigger. That's going to be bigger than the orb that we saw in that video that actually turned into an ET. Here's an article on it. It says, this is from the Express US. It says, mysterious blue orb at airport is definitely a UFO as alien's eye air bases, expert says. Okay, this is just an article that I found. I mean, this is all over the news. Okay, this orb that was there at that airport. So I just wanted to point that out. I mean, that could be pretty much anything. However, it's over a public airport, okay, and which could be concerning because we don't know. I mean, that could be a drone. It could be anything. But you and I have seen an orb that did turn shapeshifted into an alien. So that'd be
several, right? Several. Yeah. Several came out of that, or the individual orbs. I can't remember.
There were two different orbs, and there were two different ETs. Mm-hmm. One shot down. There's another behind it.
Boy, they were fast too. Talk about insectoids. They were fast. That's what they looked like to me. The way they were moving. Anyway, that was so impressive. Manchester, interesting place. Something else. Everybody is not aware of it. Check out the Manchester Canal deaths. A number of people pushed into those canals under very odd circumstances. Not quite missing 411 type stuff, but several years ago, that's where I first heard it was from David Paulettis was talking about it. There's a number of people were killed in those canals. They didn't know if it was a serial killer doing it or what was happening, but it's never solved. I think 60-some people, I think.
Now, are those the bodies that actually had high amounts of GHB in their systems when they were found?
No, I don't believe so. But there could have been some. I don't know. But the ones that Paulettis was talking about was in that one book he did, Water Deaths. But as far as the one in the canal, I don't think so. But I could be wrong. It's worthy doing more research to double check, though.
Yeah. Wow. Peter. Hey, Peter. Peter's in here. Old school friend right there.
Dragon Ball Z. Man, I like the Thundercats more. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh, I like Thundercats too. Dragon Ball Z is for my son's generation, though. Okay, my son and my nephew. We're Thundercats generation.
I was from the Hercules, Johnny Quest type of era. It's.
Now, Aurora had mentioned something about there is a conspiracy. They called it a conspiracy about, and I did not start the comment. I meant to do that. It's way up at the top there. But it was something about, they said there was a prophecy of like 39 days from Donald Trump going on the Joe Rogan podcast. There was going to be an alien takeover or UFO takeover or something. I'm sorry. I missed that comment, Aurora. I meant to. Cassandra, I meant to pull that up. I'm sorry. Yeah, there she is. So but today's day 38. So that would be tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow would be something to happen. So just keep your eyes to the skies, y'all, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. I missed the comment, but just be on the lookout for tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow, if something were to happen, we're talking about it today. That would be on Tuesday, December the 3rd. Just FYI, here in the United States. And yeah, it may not be that fake alien invasion, but who knows? Who knows? If we do get invaded by aliens, it was prophesized. Okay, so it's probably not real. But anyways.
People got mad at me when I said the Phoenix Lights was a hologram. Mm-hmm. I don't care what that institute said they saw. I think it was a hologram.
Yeah. I think a lot of the things that we are seeing in the skies are probably, I'm not saying in the skies are all holograms, but I think there's a lot of holographic stuff going on. The Miami Mall aliens were holograms. Okay, that was in my data. Remember, my data said Tupac hologram. in there. Now we're finding out that Tupac's alive. I think a lot. Oh, by the way, I may be doing a show on that this week. There's even more recycled celebrities, okay, that I'm finding every single day. I need to get one of those guys that does like that specializes in recycled celebrities to come on the show. I just saw the word diabolical somewhere. It's diabolical. Okay.
It's
Kobe Bryant's alive right now.
It's dangerous. You know, like I'll say, for example, the one with the Challenger people, they're all still alive. You know, if you start researching and looking at what some of those people's families are saying, they're very upset by that whole deal. That their family's still alive and they didn't really go through that and they're clones. They're really upset. And people should be more aware that maybe some of this needs to be examining feelings and talking to people, the family members of these people, before just saying, "Oh, they're cloned, they're still alive." You know what I mean? It just gets kind of sensitive there. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I'm hesitant to talk about some of those remote viewing targets too, is because especially the missing persons ones and stuff too, because there are people who are related, you know, and I've always stayed away from some of these going public, especially with the missing person stuff or people who have been unalived. You know, the ones where the cases that I've gotten where people thought, you know, they were mauled to death by dogmen and stuff. Those are very sensitive, especially when it comes to children being involved too. So yeah, but it's also part of being a public figure. Okay. And so people who are in the public and have worked for NASA and things like that, it's kind of fair game, unfortunately, for people who are in the public eye too. So it works kind of in different ways. Yeah.
You know, I've seen several videos lately that have just been absolutely exposing Sylvia Brown for what she did to those people regarding trying to find missing people. She screwed over a lot of people. That's coming to light right now. You know,
is she the psychic lady?
Yeah, the one that died, whatever. She, you know, she got really blown up by Montel Williams. But I mean, that's where she got really well known. But she kind of, that one lady wound up killing herself behind Sylvia's prediction, and her daughter winds up being alive. So, you know, it's you know, stuff like that just gets dangerous, and the whole thing gets murky. You know,
I think our world's murky right now, personally.
Yeah, there's no way out of that.
I think everything's murky, Barry.
I wish I could argue, but I can't. Damn it. No way out of that one.
I know we're just living in really strange times right now, and I think it is important that we do question things like that. It's coming up. I gotta admit, those pictures did look a lot like the original astronauts stuff too. So I don't know.
Well, that one lady looked like Krista McAuliffe, but they're like related. But she kind of looked like her, especially if you do when they're younger. They looked a lot alike. You know, I mean, you have to really do the research to find out that they were in two different places at the same time, and that could be proven. You know what I mean? But I mean, so stuff like that. And they always say something that we all have a doppelganger, someone just naturally by genetics that looks like us. So you never know. But right now, I think people should be very aware that there's a lot of money to be made if you can get somebody that looks like somebody that's famous, that's dead, whether it be by plastic surgery or whatever the case is. There's a lot of money to be made in that, you know, right now, because people are watching that. And as far as, look, I don't want to get myself in too much trouble here, but that's what I like about you too, is because right now we're at a point to where the technology is getting advanced enough. People need to start putting up or shutting up on some of this stuff. You know, like things like me being a contactee or you being a contactee, can we prove? No. But there's other things. We have these huge reports of these things that are so massive in global scale. Something should be able to be proven. Little parts like a whistleblower. Let me get a picture of one of these ships that's going to such and such, and people that are on it. No one can get one whistle leak of anything that's going to verify all this stuff. It's getting to that point. We need that now. You know, for the, what do you call them? For the normies.
Normies. That's
normies?
Right.
Yeah.
You're using the word now. You should start using that more often.
You initiated me. You christened me. I can do it now. Normies.
You are now christened with the word
normies and watchers, right?
You have now been knighted into the normie community. Just kidding. You're not normal. You're not a normie. You're anything but a normie.
I'm a weirdie, but I'll tell you what. Much respect to everybody in the chat. I've been kind of looking over there, but not saying much. But I've seen some really intelligent stuff when it comes to people being trapped, as far as demonic trapped or being possessed, and just negative stuff like that. I'm seeing really good things. Or somebody's mentioning of their screen memories and stuff like that. You know, dealt with a number of those in my work now, with people that are really good people that have had something happen to them, you know. So that's glad to see that's aware and people are aware and all that, you know, getting a balance of the negative and the positive. That's good, you know.
Yeah, there's a balance. There's definitely a balance, but yeah, that's funny. We've got some great comments today too. This has been a really interesting show today. It really has been an interesting show. We did have to end it off on the cowman on the ground too, for the shapeshifter. Yes, don't always believe everything you see, y'all.
I wouldn't have laughed if you hadn't said he'd been mooing. That's what made me laugh. Is I seen his brother go moo, because he was cheating. That's pretty rough, man. I think I'd really go with the weird science lady. Yeah. Maybe you could put put ice on those, on that at least.
It was very sad. He was like moo. Like moo. Yeah, it was. You'll have to see the whole video. I'll put it in the comments. Okay, I'll remember after the show. It'll be a link to Instagram or YouTube.
Throw this out real quick. Get your tattoos with that normies. I like that. Hey, something people check this out. I invite people to really check this out. A lot of people that are lifetime contactees, like myself, do not have tattoos. Not everybody, but a large majority of us do not. And I find that very interesting that the large amount of us have an aversion to that ink. Just food for thought, okay? And when I first said that, people got really mad at me, and then people are kind of for it. I'm a lifetime, and a lot of people didn't. And it started a big argument. So I don't want to get too far in it, but I'm just saying something to check out. I do know a few contactees that do have them, but the majority of us that have it lifetime long don't. Do you? Yeah, you do, don't you?
Have what? Tattoos?
Tattoos?
I got a couple.
Was it a bunch of naked public enemy members or something like that? Was it Chuck D? Chuck D? Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
No, Barry.
You be one of the people. You've got one, but you're a lifetime contactee, so you break the mold. So it's not an absolute thing, but it's just something that kind of comes up a little when you look into it. You know what I mean? Just again, these are just food for thoughts. I don't want to get no stuff thrown at me. So.
No, you
got a cool audience.
Just kidding. Yeah, I don't have a ton of tattoos, but I got a couple. Yeah, just I got a few. But anyways, I think it's probably a mixed bag. But yeah, there's people that I know. I mean, I don't know a whole lot of people that don't have tattoos anymore. I thought everybody had tattoos at this point, at least one. So,
how many do you know that are lifetime contactees?
Yeah,
it's the lifers I'm referring to. Those of us have been having contacts since childhood all the way through. Yeah. It was pointed out to me, and then I started, no, I don't think that's true, and I started trying to investigate it. And then I got mauled in the process, but I found it to be somewhat accurate, you know, not, like I said, not total, but it's somewhat majority-wise, it's a little more accurate than what I would have suspected, you know, at least the people I've talked to anyway. So.
Yes. No, if you don't have
somebody there. See somebody there. I saw that.
Marine.
Also Marine.
And from Australia does not have any tattoos, and Maureen does not have any tattoos. Edgar has a tattoo costume. I think Edgar's got those sleeves that you can put on like pantyhose that have the tattoos on them. Okay. So you can get those too. And says she respects the art of tattoos. Yeah, you can get those for Halloween.
Let's say thanks to Ange. Ange is very supportive of me on a certain situation, certain deal. So thank you. I want to say thank you. She's really cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, man, y'all, this has been fantastic. Yeah, if you guys have tattoos and you've been a lifelong contactee, or if you don't, y'all let us know. Put it in the live chat today or in the comments or something. Let us know. We'll take a poll. How about that? We'll take a poll. I'll put a poll on my social media today, and see who's got tattoos and who doesn't. And man, this has been awesome, Barry. Do you have any final thoughts on shape-shifting cryptids? I didn't even talk about the Sasquatch that turned into a squirrel, and then the squirrel, and people saw the squirrel, and then half the people saw the Sasquatch. We didn't even talk about that. But,
boy, that would have been another one to take us to Carlos Castaneda, showing up, people seeing one person, 5 people seeing them wearing something different. Anyway, no, just as far as this, no, I think everybody, you got a great audience. I'm sorry I didn't look over there enough or everything, but much respect to you, to everybody in your audience. They've been very kind to me, and good thinkers and awake people. So I think they know they know probably more than me. So I think we're good. Did I start something with the tats? Oh no.
Well, actually, the comments over here so we can see. I'm curious. I'm very curious. Shanti's in the chat too. Hey, Shanti with Aquarius Rising Africa. She says bamboo tats. You got bamboo tattoos, I bet. Okay. Those are cool. Those are super cool. Yeah, Walter doesn't like tattoos. Okay, Marty says she does not do tattoos.
Wow, a lot of people see. I bet you they're all contactees too, aren't you? I bet you're all contactees. I bet you.
Edgar has a partial sleeve. Angie's son has one. Aurora, let's see. Tats in the chats. We got tats in the chats.
Tats in the chats. All right.
Okay. Yes. Robin has no tattoos. And we could, let's see. Yeah. Marco even has tattoos. Okay. All right. Well, I can't keep doing y'all. We're gonna have to run today. This has been a wonderful show. Thank y'all so much for all the support and all the comments today. And please follow Barry over on his YouTube channel. Barry, tell everybody where they can find you.
God, I'm about ready to shut down my Patreon because I'm still up on air on that. But YouTube, check out my YouTube. Still got a few things I do on there. Barry Littleton at YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm trying to kind of put more stuff up on Facebook. People ain't like it when I put up pretty pictures, but I try to put up like some scientific stuff that nobody likes. But I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. Like the Templar cylinder.
You put up pretty pictures of like animals that are, squirrels that are grabbing at flowers and stuff. I don't know. It's really pretty. Just beautiful stuff. Very artistic.
Thanks. Beauty. It's hard now because you look at everything. Oh my God, is it CGI? Is it AI? Because if it is, you'll get barbecued. You put that up.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, it's risky. I know it's risky. It's risky. As long as you're not putting it in like certain groups and stuff, like they won't come after you. Okay, you'll be fine. As long as it's on your own page. That's awesome. You guys please go become a member of Barry's Patreon. Don't get rid of your Patreon, Barry. You can do lives in your Patreon too. So Barry,
I think that's what I'm gonna do actually, maybe a couple times a week or something like that.
That's a great idea.
What do they want? So
okay. Yeah. Definitely think about doing that, but don't get rid of your Patreon. It's a great way for people to support you. Okay, so you guys go become members of the Patreon and Barry's YouTube channel as well over there. And I want to thank everybody for being here today. Y'all are the best. Let me close the show down here. Y'all are the best. Y'all come back and see me on Wednesday on a glitch in the Matrix. We'll be here. I've got several show ideas for that, so I'll be announcing that probably tonight or tomorrow, whatever we're going to do next. But you guys, please stay safe out there. If you have any cool shape-shifting videos, y'all send them to me on my social media. Okay, I love seeing shapeshifters and stuff. Maybe we can talk about it in an upcoming show if we got some good ones. All right, y'all. Well, everybody, have a great day. Barry, thank you so much for co-hosting with me today. Trying to get my buttons to work.
I forgot something. Yes. Anybody that might want to have a session with me, you can email me at barrylittleton13@gmail.com. I always forget to say that. Sorry.
Wonderful. BarryLittleton13, BarryLittleton13@gmail.com. All right. Okay, everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you guys back here on Wednesday. All right. See you, Barry. Bye, y'all.